Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, whatever it is, wherever you are. What's up, and welcome! The sun is shining and the magpie is casting. Coming at you guys today with a live 1v1 game featuring a spawning in the south. It's the USF forces of Leon. And his opponents spawning in the north. It's going to be the Overcommand West forces of Distr. The map today is going to be Angoville. So we've seen this one a couple of times already on the channel. I'm sure most people who play the game are familiar with it, but let's have a quick pan around. We've got some open fields, we've got some built-up areas here on the right. We've got a fairly unique wall structure just here. Yep, so a pretty open map. It's a good one for AT guns, MGs. There's a lot of opportunities to stick them in dominant buildings on the right or dominate large areas of space on the left of the map. And yeah, I think it's one of the maps with very little in the way of spawn bias. I don't think either north or south has much of an edge, if any. Yeah, so we'll see how this battle unfolds. Right now, the Sheriff Max Schlepper getting right on into the American side of the map, going to get some scouting information, find some riflemen. Got to be a little bit careful. Riflemen can deal damage moderately quickly. This isn't really a concern for the vehicle, but it is a concern from a veterancy point of view. You can see here the veterancy just beginning to clock up there for the rifleman, and that's something you want to avoid handing away if you can. Build order from the Americans, 2 of riflemen. Build order from the Overcommand, 2 of Volks. So all looking pretty standard there. These Volks a little bit idle right now. Not quite sure what Distr is up to with these chaps. They wanna be useful if they can. Perhaps just skirt on over to this point. That would be a good thing to do. Squad of rear echelons going to be leading the charge on the left flank. Going to be just making a land grab. Pardon me, just connecting the all-important resource points. So they're going to be bringing some income for Leon. Neither player has picked a commander just yet. Storm Pioneer is going to make a run into these riflemen, but this traditionally shouldn't work. The rifleman standing still will do a lot of damage. There goes one of the Storm Pioneers on the way in. Let's see if the Storm Pioneers can trade for some damage at close range. They're probably going to do okay. Now down to just 2 Storm Pioneers. Oh my goodness, he's going to keep on trading. This is ambitious. Wow, forcing the fallback out of Leon, trading right down to the last Storm Pioneer, who's now going to fall back, and he shouldn't lose this man. He'll be very unlucky to do so. Distr there, seemingly knowing what he's doing, taking a dive onto a rifle squad. That was it seems like a calculated move to force the fallback, and that seems quite acceptable if that was his aim. Little scuffle here on the left flank. Some Volks here, probably going to force these echelons back. They found themselves some yellow cover, so that will do. And they've picked off one of the rear echelons already. Rear echelons, of course, not so much in a fight. They're not all that really. These riflemen going to get up right close, going to use the rate of fire advantage on the Garans. The rear echelon's going to come in from the flank and support, and these Volks are going to need some help from their little brother squad here. Here it comes. A little late to the party though, and too late to prevent the fallback from being forced out there. Finally, these Volks being useful, they're going to grab this point. I'd like to see them just get up in some yellow cover here, start taking some pot shots at those riflemen. Of course, Volks lose at every single possible range. They lose at close, they lose at mid, and they lose at far. 2 riflemen. So, yeah, they're just basically going to have to do their best. Now, you know what, actually, they might stand a chance if the riflemen, if they're fighting the riflemen from in a building. In fact, you know, they definitely stand a chance if that were the case. But Leon would have to be a fool to take that engagement. He'll just move his riflemen away. So, two-man squad of riflemen here. They're going to stay in the fight just long enough to decap a point, it looks like. They'll probably fall back at the first sign of anything. The battle group at HQ has been established right here in the base. Now, seasoned viewers on my channel will know I disagree with putting your building like this close to your base. It would be much better even if it was just here. It would actually be quite decent / good if it was here. So I don't really rate building that building in your base. I don't think it represents value for 200 manpower and 40 fuel and your first truck. I just don't think it does. But, you know, a lot of players seem to disagree with me. A lot of players happy to plonk it down in the base. I just think if you're going to build it in the base, build the Mechanized Company HQ. Don't build the Battle Gripper one. That's what Magpie says. But, you know, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I'm probably wrong right now. We'll see. Volks in this building doing some pretty good work at the moment. These riflemen, yeah, they're going to get on out of there. And now we've got 3 squads of Volks. Panzer Fusiliers have come out, and that means that Distr has chosen his commander. And of course, it's the Breakthrough Doctrine. So, haven't seen this one in quite a long time. As I frame the action here on the left flank, Storm Pioneer is going to force back the 2-man rifle squad. Also going to chase these rear echelons away. Might even get an extra man on that squad. Nope. So the Breakthrough Doctrine. There it is on your screens. Just hit back the pause button if you want to keep it on there. But yeah, a very useful commander, bringing you a number of unique and very interesting units. Panzer Fusiliers, the Sturmoffizier being chief among them. You also get, of course, the breakthrough doctrine. The breakthrough tactics. There it is on the screen. 35 munitions to activate gives you 60 seconds of enemy territory being neutralized very quickly. The Brits have a version of this as well. I can't remember what theirs is called, but the Vanguard dude gets it. Yep, so you got the Storm Officer, he costs 280, and the Panzer Fusiliers, they cost 290. Panzer Fusiliers are a very good squad, although not when they're getting massacred at point-blank range by far more than their numbers in Riflemen. But yeah, Panzer Fusiliers, good unit. There's 6 men in the unit, and they are no slouch. They're no conscripts. The dudes in that unit are effective combatants, and they get a number of interesting veterancy abilities as they rank up. You can also purchase them a couple of Gewehr rifles, and that significantly increases, of course, their damage, but also their line of sight, which I've seen be useful on a number of occasions. So a flexible and interesting squad to use. What's the reinforced cost? 24, so not super expensive either. So that's good to know. It's a commander which I'd like to make more use of, but I personally, I don't really like the Storm Officer. I mean, he's very good, but I don't think he scales particularly well into the late game. He also doesn't gain veterancy at all, and I completely understand the reasons for him not getting veterancy. However, I just don't like units that can't get veterancy. One of my favourite things to do in this game is to, watch your units go from being scrubs to being elite, and to see that mechanic missed out, especially on such a cool unit that forms like the core of your battle line, is I don't know, it's just a shame. Just doesn't quite feel right to me. So I don't tend to use the Storm Officer. The Panzer Fusiliers, though, they're wonderful. They can't get the Panzerschreck upgrade, however, so you do have to back them up with Volks or Kettenwerfers, and here we see Kettenwerfer and Volks in force. And, anyway, we've got some combat engineers here, assault engineers. They're going to come in. They've got the flamethrower upgrade, so that means that Leon has also chosen his commander. And as soon as this scuffle here is concluded, which I think it is now, the American squad's falling back, I'll overview his abilities. Of course, it's the Armour Company. We see this guy often enough, probably the second most popular after the Rifleman commander, the Elite Rifles commander. So he gets assault engineers, gets the more or less useless elite vehicle crew upgrade, he gets the very useful M10 Wolverine, the somewhat useful, I'm still not convinced about it, Bulldozer Sherman, and of course the very heavy 205mm howitzer barrage. Now, it seems like we've got an AA half-track. The rifle grenade was used, the Panzer Fusiliers, they do have the anti-tank rifle grenade, cost them 25 munitions, seems like a bargain. But unfortunately there was no existing damage on this AA half-track, which means that its engine is not broken, so it can continue the rampage. Going to force back these Panzer Fusiliers, having scored good damage on them, coming up to a third of a level of veterancy already. Now going to force back the Storm Pioneers, having killed 2 of them. So getting off to a great start, this AA half-track. And I like the choice to deploy onto the left flank. There's fewer buildings, he knows the Rakettenwerfer isn't on the left flank, also it's going to have to transition across, and here it is now, getting positioned at a very awkward angle actually. So yeah, forces the transition out the Rakettenwerfer by deploying this onto the left. And now, if he likes, he can transition right, and I kind of like that choice again. The Rakettenwerfer is going to get a shot here, and he needs to get the hell out. That is now a risky AA half-track. There we go, he's going to get out. So, yep, he can repair that when he's good and ready. Oh, look, they've changed it so that the AA half-track can shoot all round it. I think that seemed to be shooting forwards. That's interesting. So it used to have like a 270-degree arc with a blind spot in front. But that seems to be no longer the thing. Wow, blob of ages coming out here, and you kind of feel if there was a Lig or 2 on the field, these guys would be suffering badly right now. This is the kind of formation is super risky against overcommand, but fair enough. I mean, Leon hasn't seen any Ligs yet. He has no reason to suspect that there's one on the field, and indeed, a Lig would be a ways off yet. So, Distr could build one shortly, but it would still be a minute or 2 away. So, he's going to get away with it, and the manpower has just been spent. Oh, it seems like another unit of Panzer Fusiliers. So, wow, a lot of frontline infantry for the overcommand player. Distr going up to 3 of Panzer Fusiliers. Panzerliers? That's a new unit. No, he's going up to 3 squads of Panzer Fusiliers, 3 squads of Volks Grenadiers. So, we'll see what he's able to do. Kind of mounting a bit of a blob of his own, actually, here. The AA half-track going to come out, but the Rakettenwerfer is still in position. Not camouflaged, but it's in position. Here comes the shot. Here comes the shot. Okay, not quite sure why it didn't fire there. That's awkward. Combat engineers gonna force these Panzer Fusiliers back, and here comes a massive run by of infantry. They're gonna try and get in on this AA half track. Needs to reposition the Rakettenwerfer again. And that AA half track pretty much just got away scot-free whilst being in the arc of a Rakettenwerfer for ages. Now he's not on hold fire. That's not even an option. He's just on target vehicles. So I don't understand why that thing didn't cap off a round. That's very weird. Anyway, he's going to repair it just there, and now again you've got to feel if the overcommand player had a lag, even just here or here, it could probably hit this location. You can pan around in fog of war to here where your opponent are repairing. So that's a thing that Distr could have had a play for. Yeah, it's like it's long odds of that actually paying off, but damn if you hit, that's pretty cool. Anyway, seems like Distr is just kind of blobbing his forces up, and I don't like this very much at all. I think he should fan out and look to grab some land or take some fights. Wow, okay, but you know what? This amount of weight of fire was able to focus down the combat engineers. The flamethrower tank going up almost instantly. Where's the AA half-track? Needs to come out and control this crowd a bit. And, but the Rakettenwerfer is in a good position, and actually this is quite an aggressive move from Distr, and I quite like it, not going to lie. And he's going up to 4 squads of Panzer Fusiliers now. My goodness, he's up at 61 unit cap over the 42 of his opponent. 4 squads of Panzer Fusiliers, 3 of Volks, 1 of Storm Pioneers, Kettenwerfer on the end. So a decent army, and that's showing down against just a rear echelon squad who really are like not even worth a stiff breeze in combat. And 3 rifleman squads. There's a lieutenant and a captain. It looks like we've got a pack howitzer coming out, and that is going to punish a formation like this. Look at this. Who really blobs there? I mean, this is a massive. This kind of blobbing, I frown on quite heavily. I don't even think it's that efficient. Yeah, they can be quite potent, but I don't think it's very efficient, and it's hyper easy to counter. So between the pack howitzer and the AA half-track, I think Leon's going to line up into a great position to take this. Crucially, of course, the American forces have been holding the right-hand side of the map. That's where 2 of the victory points are. So Leon finds himself leading by 117 tickets right now. Sorry, I take that back. 84 tickets right now. So that's a healthy lead to find yourself in. Wow, I mean, I don't know what the play is for Distr. I mean, this is just bizarre. This is a weird thing to do. I mean, clearly that's the strat he's going for. You don't build this kind of lineup of infantry on a whim. This seems like something he's definitely going for. Now here comes the first pack howitzer round, and now I believe the shizzle is going to be getting real for Distr. Look, see, already the blob forced back from this dominant position here to a much less potent position here. And he needs to do something about the right flank, because it's all good and well being here on the left, but you ain't going to win. So, anyway, pack howitzer in a decent position. Let's check the range on this beast. Actually, we can't just now, it's moving. Yeah, the pack howitzer is the appropriate counter. The AA half-track kind of... Okay, now it's active again. I was going to say, it's been out of the fight for quite a while, and it could have just been chipping in damage. No Panzer Shreks bought for the Volks Grenadiers yet. Where is he going with these guys? He's just walking them back to base. Is he just going to say, okay, you've got a pack howitzer and an AA half-track, you can have the left as well as the right? Distr, this does not seem like a viable strategy. I am mightily confused about how you intend to win this. I mean, the DPS on this blob is real. I mean, he can wield that to good effect. Okay, now he's going to have a sledgehammer swing at the right. But the positioning is known about, so here comes the pack and the AA half-track. These guys are just sat in negative cover right now. A Jagdpanzer is the call, and I do like this call. Hopefully it's going to catch the Jagdpanzer. No, the Jagdpanzer is going to transition here. The pack howitzer scores a fantastic hit, instant pinning a massive blob of infantry and doing masses of damage. They instantly have to fall back. Let's check the veterancy on that pack howitzer. Yeah, nearly 1 star. I mean, that was the hit. That was the money shot there. The hit of ages. But I mean, even losing the victory point on the left flank. So, I mean, there are strengths and there are weaknesses to this blob that Distr is using right now, and I feel like he's basically utilizing none of the strengths and being exploited on all of its weaknesses. Smart play here from Leon, who's now up to, of course, 2 pack howitzers, still has the AA half-track and a number of supporting infantry squads in decent amounts of well, some veterancy on them at least. So I don't really. Distr is going to have to make something happen here, because what he's doing at the moment is inadequate. Now, he's going to take this, he can push up on this flank quite well. There's only 1 squad of riflemen garrisoned in a building. For my money, they're too far back. They'd be providing much more useful information if they're in a forward building around about here. Now, here comes the Jagdpanzer. It's going to get caught out by a load of infantry, but that's okay, because there's no anti-tank capability in that infantry just now. Now, here we go. And the blob has been fanned out a little bit, and I much prefer this. 2 squads of Panzer Fusiliers on the right of the mid, and two squads of a Panzer Fusiliers, a Volk, and a Storm Pioneer coming down the left. Now here comes the American counterattack. We've got Rifleman, Captain in the blob as well. And the pack howitzer, here come the rounds. scoring good suppression and damage, limbs being flung everywhere. 4 guys get blown to bits, the rest are wounded. Those pack howitzers doing fantastic work. 170 tickets now, the lead for the American forces. The pack howitzer's next barrage, turning its attention to the left, suppressing that blob. That's going to force the fallback, and just like that, all it takes is 2 shots from each of these pack howitzers. That's 4 shots total, and the infantry push is dissuaded. The AA half-track didn't even have to expose itself, and you know what, I think it should have done anyway, just to get some more kills, punish the advance, get some veterancy on that unit. But in the end, not needed. Pack howitzers, they got the business done. 1-star veterancy, they now have the white phosphorus barrage. You've got to think that's going to be quite useful against this kind of composition from Distr. And I think if you're Distr, you just have to say to yourself, my opponent has this covered, I need to shift gears right now. I need to change into something else. Now, the options for him, he's floating like, he nearly has enough fuel to deploy a Vermax Schlepper into a different building. So, you know what, I kind of like going for an infrared half-track, positioning it here, assessing your opponent, and splitting your infantry onto each side, and just trying for a skirmish, almost guerrilla warfare style, whilst using the Jagdpanzer to try and poke off the AA half-track. That's what I like, being a much more fluid approach, just pushing with a large fan of infantry across, let me crack the tack here so I can explain. I like pushing with a large fan of infantry across the breadth of the map. You'll be forced back in places where you meet the strongest resistance, where your opponent, where opponent Leon deploys his infantry, deploys his pack howitzers and his AA half-track, but you'll make ground wherever his forces aren't, and they can't be everywhere, not against this many infantry. And then you can use the Jagdpanzer just to poke wherever he commits his AA half-track. So keeping the Jagdpanzer around about here, I would, until you see the AA half-track, and then pushing out with it would be my choice. Now look at these look, a single pack howitzer shell suppressing 4 squads here, and now here comes the next shell. They're gonna have to fall back. Blah. Oh my goodness. And like, it just seems like Distr is unaware of the existence of the pack howitzer as a unit in the game or something. He's just like, I mean, he's just not responding to the fact that his opponent totally has his strategy and tactics on lockdown, which is pretty bad. The Jagdpanzer does finally get a shot at the AA half-track, but it's going to be a miss. We're going to see another shot, and that should hit. There we go. The AA half-track now down to 50% health, doesn't want to take another like that, so it's going to get out. Jagdpanzer's going to come forward. Oh my goodness, the pack howitzer rounds. Just doing work. Doing so much work. Let me just see, how much does a pack howitzer cost to actually build? Because I'd be curious to know. It costs 380 manpower, and is how much unit cap? 11, so... yeah, oh wow, now here we have an M10 getting up into the rear armour of the Jagdpanzer, and that's a dead Jagdpanzer because it can no longer reverse out, and so its rear armour is going to be perpetually exposed to this M10, which is doing good damage. He just needs to rotate it this way. Not really sure what Distr is doing there. Going to take another hit. Oh wow, that's a miss. The Wolverine there getting a bit unlucky. Push of infantry here, gonna find the pack howitzers in the middle of all this. Seems like Leon's micro was taken up, his attention taken up onto the M10. The Jagdpanzer's gonna die just now on the right flank, but the 2 pack howitzers seem to be forfeit, and if these are stolen by Axis forces, this could be quite the turnaround, and it seems very keen to take them up. Is Distr, and this could be the swing he was looking for. This could be the play he needed to make. The M10 Wolverine now pretty much useless. I mean, yeah, I can try and run some guys over, actually, that's valid. But it's a very ineffective unit now that there are no armoured targets for it to engage. The AA half-track, though, is going to do good work, and that's going to mow down the two pack howitzers. And you know what? I think as tempting as it was to grab those howitzers, as Distr GGs, I think as tempting as it was to grab those howitzers, you're effectively taking 6 of your men out of the fight. So that's basically 2 squads that are going to have to fall back because they're on very low men. So I think actually grabbing those howitzers at that timing, I think you need to stay, take the fight with your infantry squads, beat off their infantry, and then grab the pack howitzers after the fight is done as an optional bonus if you can. I think trying to swipe them in the middle of the fight, I mean, they're not Rakettenwerfers, you can't press T and fall back with those units. So I think his odds of getting them out were always incredibly slim. As soon as the AA half-track came over to this part of the map, they were always going to die. So, I mean, I can totally understand why Distr made that move, and I think in his boots I may have been tempted to do the same thing myself. But in the end, it turned out to be just too greedy and easily punished by the American player Leon, who's going to take the W here in 18 minutes and 42 seconds. Good play from Leon, a solid match. Identified the tactics being used by his foes, applied the correct counter, and won the game through very straightforward stone, paper, scissors logic there. which I like a lot. Distr trying there a novel build, going for heavy infantry and Volks and Panzer Fusiliers. But ultimately, if your opponent gets the appropriate counters, you have to respond to that. And if you don't, this is the result. So by appropriate counters, I think he could have gotten a Lig or two of his own to help fight the pack howitzers. I think that the Jagdpanzer was okay, but not super appropriate. You can beat an AA half-track with other units. The Jagdpanzer seems a little extreme and possibly a little early there. But I don't mind getting the Jagdpanzer because I just always like a good Jagdpanzer, especially at that kind of timing. So yeah, I don't know. I think a couple of Ligs would have been appropriate. I think Obersoldaten would have been a really good bet. So yeah, that would have been the changes that I would have made. I also just think that his tactics of blobbing his units up, I think if Distr had spread those units into a fan across the map, it would have been more effective and enabled him to be more fluid with his style. So, anyway, yeah, taking a quick win there is Leon. Congratulations to him. Thank you very much to everybody out there watching the channel. And this is Magpie842 signing out till next time.